Hello, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the previous story, Thomas and the Freight Cars. In the last story, Thomas got into a lot of trouble with the freight cars as they caused trouble for the blue tank engine. So next up, I'll be reading Thomas and the Breakdown Train, the fourth and final story in the Thomas the Tank Engine storybook, and the final one I'll be reading. Watch as Thomas learns what it's meant to be a really useful engine after helping a new engine named James. Thomas and the Breakdown Train by the Reverend W. Aldrich. Every day, Sir Thomas Hat came to the station to catch his train, and he always said, "Hello," to Thomas. There were lots of freight cars in the yard. Different ones came in every day, and Thomas had to push and pull them into the right places. He worked hard, but he knew that he wasn't as clever as he had thought. Besides, Sir Thomas had been kind to him, and he wanted to learn all about freight cars so he would be a really useful engine. But on the siding by themselves were some freight cars that Thomas was told he mustn't touch. There was a small coach, some flat freight cars, and two strange things his driver called cranes. That's the breakdown train," his driver said. "When there's an accident, the workmen get into the coach, and the engine quickly takes them to help the hurt people and to clear and mend the line. The cranes are for lifting heavy things like engines, coaches, and freight cars." One day, Thomas was in the yard when he heard an engine whistling, "Help! Help!" A goods train came rushing through much too fast. The engine, a new one named James, was frightened. His brake blocks were on fire, and smoke and sparks streamed out of each side. "They're pushing me! They're pushing me!" he panted. On, laughed the freight cars, still whistling, "Help! Help!" Poor James disappeared under the bridge. "I'd like to teach those freight cars a lesson," said Thomas the tank engine. Then a bell rang in the signal box, and a man came running. "James is off the line! The breakdown train! Quickly!" he shouted. So Thomas was coupled on, the workmen jumped into the coach, and off they went. Thomas worked his hardest. "Hurry, hurry, hurry!" he puffed. This time he wasn't pretending to be like Gordon. He really meant it. "Bother those freight cars and their tricks," he thought. "I hope poor James isn't hurt." They found James in the freight cars at the bend in the line. The brake van and the last few freight cars were on the rails, but the front ones were piled in a heap. James was in the field with a cow looking at him, and his driver and firemen were feeling him all over to see if he was hurt. "Never mind, James," they said. "It wasn't your fault. It was those wooden brakes they gave you. We always said they were no good." Thomas pushed the breakdown train alongside the wreck. Then he pulled the unhurt freight cars out of the way. "Oh dear," they groaned. Serves you right, puffed Thomas crossly. When the man put the other freight cars on the line, he pulled them away too. He was hard at work, puffing backwards and forwards all afternoon. This will teach you a lesson. This will teach you a lesson," he told the freight cars, and they answered, "Yes, it will. Yes, it will," in a sad, gloomy, groaning, creaky sort of voice. They left the broken freight cars and manned the line. Then, with two cranes, they put James back on the rails. He tried to move, but he couldn't, so Thomas helped him back to the shed. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting anxiously for them. "Well, Thomas," he said kindly, I've heard all about it and I'm very pleased with you. You're a really useful engine. James should have some proper brakes and a new coat of paint. And you shall have a branch line all to yourself. Oh, sir, said Thomas happily. Now Thomas is as happy as can be. He has a branch line all to himself and puffs proudly backwards and forwards with 2 coaches all day. He is never lonely because there is always an engine to talk to at the junction. Edward and Henry stop by quite often and tell him the news. Gordon is always in a hurry and does not stop, but he never forgets to say "hoo hoo" to little Thomas, and Thomas always whistles "beep beep" and return. The end. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Thomas got his branch line, and how Thomas learned how he was meant to be a really useful engine. I want to thank you for listening to these stories with me, as it has been an honor to do so. Remember to share, subscribe. Out of all the 4 stories, which one is your favorite? If you like one, 2, or 3 stories, that's fine. If you like all of them, that's fine. And if you don't like any of them, I respect your opinion. Again, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.